budget segment in the OnePlus9 series. Now let's come to its build quality. It has a metal frame and it has a protection of Corning Gorilla Glass on the back and on the front. Well, you don't get any IP68 or IP65 rating, sadly, because it's on the budget segment. You don't get an audio jack, meaning you should use the Type-C to 3.5mm jack adapter to listen to your music through your headphones. It has a speaker grill and a SIM tray on the bottom, and the speaker on this phone happens to be stereo speaker, and the sound performance is pretty good. Now coming towards the display on this phone absolutely has a gorgeous AMOLED display with 120Hz refresh rate, and it also supports HDR10+, meaning you can absolutely gorge on the content on Netflix or Amazon Prime with HDR turned on. Now coming to the performance of the phone, this phone comes close to a flagship performance with a Snapdragon 870 chipset. Be it gaming, video editing, photo editing, this performs everything smoothly, and moreover all the high-end games can be played on the topmost settings on this phone without any frame drops. So all the gamers out there, you can absolutely have a look at this. Coming to the heating issue of the phone, it doesn't heat as much as the Snapdragon 888 processor. It has nominal heating, but yes, it does get a bit hot when you're recording videos under direct sunlight, so do watch out for that. And I would recommend, be it any phone, never shoot videos under direct sunlight for a longer period of time. So coming to the camera aspect, this has a 4-camera setup on the rear. Let me tell you the truth, except the primary sensor, none of the other sensor makes sense. I mean, I do understand this is in the budget segment, but why do you have to put in a camera sensor with 2-megapixel monochrome, 5-megapixel macro? Where will I use these shots? They're not even worth zooming into. Now coming to the other two sensors, it has a 16-megapixel ultra-wide sensor, but it's all fixed focus, so you don't have the option to focus on your preference. And lastly, coming to the primary sensor, which happens to be 48 megapixel. And there's a catch in this. When you try to shoot at 48 megapixels, you don't have the option to zoom in. You only have the option to zoom in when you come on the secondary megapixel slot, that is a 12 megapixel. And the only way I can use zoom feature is on a 12 megapixel. Great. Well, nevertheless, the clarity is average. Camera performance is not as much as what we can expect from a OnePlus, but let me tell you, the OnePlus 6 was more practical than this. You just had two lenses, and one was for the depth and one was the primary sensor, and that made more sense than a 4-camera setup in which only one does the work and rest 3 is just for the fun. And coming to the camera on the front, you do get a 16-megapixel shooter. Again, the clarity is average. Don't expect much from this. Let me straight away tell you, front camera on the OnePlus9 is much better than this. But although if you can work your lighting properly, you can get good shots. And here's the preview of some of these shots. Have a look. Now these are the shots which I took in Goa, and these are the shots which I took in low light. The low light performance is okay. The color calibration on the primary camera is different, and the color calibration on the wide camera is different. And coming to the video recording, you have the option to shoot at 4K 60 fps, 30 fps, and 1080p 30 and 60 fps. And also you do have option to shoot slow motion videos on this, which happens to be 240 frames per second at 1080p resolution and 480 frames per second at 720 pixels resolution. The front camera is able to shoot at 1080p 30 fps fixed. And another strange part is whenever you're recording a video, you cannot use the ultra wide camera while you're recording a video. But luckily, as it's Android, you do have an app called Open Camera, which helps you to switch between different camera setups while you're doing a video recording. You cannot use the ultra wide camera to record videos by the default camera app. Let's get into the battery. This phone comes with a dual battery setup of 2200 mAh each, which equals to 4500 mAh on the whole, and this should last you typically a whole day. But if you feel the need to charge it up, it comes with a 65 watts rapid charger. I mean, to see your phone charge from 0 to 100 under 40 minutes is a joy to watch. Lastly, coming to the variants, there are two variants and two color options. One is the carbon black, another one is the lake blue, and both of these come with an 8GB 128GB model or 12 plus 256GB model. Let's get into the conclusion. If you're a OnePlus fanboy looking for an okayish camera, decent performance, premium build, a pure oxygen OS without a merge of color OS, and if you're looking at something below the budget of 50,000, this is the OnePlus phone you should look for. On that note, I'll catch you in my next video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.